And it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! It's a miracle! It's Noah Brown! Oh my goodness! This town is going crazy! It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland! Who did it?
Series.
I see you, bro. What is going on, guys? So this is not what I wanted to start this video off with. As you guys can see, Jaden Daniels was going crazy. So let's get into it. What's going on? My name is Keith. It's Black Quarterback Series. Let's get into it. So Rookie Showdown, as you can see at the beginning of the video, crazy into a crazy game. I wouldn't say crazy game, but crazy into otherwise unimpressive, I hate to say boring game. So let's get the numbers out the way and then we'll talk about it. Caleb Williams was 11 for 24, 131 yards. This is more of a DeAndre Swift show. 18 carries, 129 yards, a touchdown for Swift. Jaden Daniels, he played better, but that second half he wasn't. I think the injury that he sustained a few weeks ago was really getting to him. And you could really see it in his accuracy and how he wasn't as I would say juiced up, how he wasn't like as deadly as he was in the first half. He still made plays, but it just wasn't like the first half. So Jaden was 21 for 38, 326 yards, a touchdown. Terry McLaurin doing scary Terry things, 5 receptions, 125 yards, right? So that first half was some of the worst passing by both teams that I've seen in a while, right? Caleb Williams running for his life the whole game. So I don't really want to blame this on him. His offensive line was terrible. When I say his offensive line was absolutely terrible the whole game. This man dropped back and started running. If I put a few clips in here, this man literally dropped back and started running every single time. Like every play was a running play. And now, granted, he made some good plays there. And the defense played well to the point where this wasn't a 35-10 loss. Because if Washington could have got 2 touchdowns, this game would have been over mid-third quarter. So, Jaden Daniels and his crew are up 12-0. And they just can't score. They can't get in the end zone for whatever reason. They can't get in the end zone. Had to keep settling for field goals, which is what led Chicago to get back in the game, and then for that Hail Mary play by Jaden, which is one of the best Hail Marys I've seen since the Aaron Rodgers one. But Chicago has to take care of that offensive line. You're gonna get Caleb hurt, and it doesn't matter what Caleb. It doesn't matter what Caleb does if he's gonna keep running for his life. Now, granted, he made plays that way. And he's probably best playing that way. But I wasn't the biggest fan of that offensive line, and I'm sure their offensive coordinator and the head coach wasn't that big fan of the offensive line, because that offensive line was horse blank. Fill in the blank there. Horse blank. It was terrible. And now on the Washington side, you love it, but you would have wished that you could have scored a few touchdowns to where this was never in doubt. If they score 1 touchdown, this game is, you don't have the Hail Mary because you won the game, not regulation, but you've won the game. It doesn't matter. You score 1 touchdown. They got all their points was off field goals. If you score 1 or 2 touchdowns, you win this game convincingly. But I'm glad Jaden played the whole game. He got out healthy. He's gonna be really sore tomorrow, but he got out healthy. Wasn't the best showing for the rookies. And I don't put this loss on Caleb. It was the offensive line deserves all of this. And speaking of people giving up games when a part of it is playing well, let's talk about Baltimore. So, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, 23 for 38, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zay, 115 yards, ended up he ended up falling on the game-winning play that would have won them the game. As you can see, Lamar only got a chance to watch this fourth quarter, but I think I know enough about the game to where I can make a good analysis. This Baltimore defense needs to be solved, or they're never beating Kansas City. We're gonna get to Kansas City right after this, but there is no reason that you can't get one stop. You can't get one stop in the fourth quarter. You get one stop in the fourth quarter, and you win this game. Against Cleveland, Jameis Winston was great. 27 for 41, 324 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tillman, 7 receptions, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. They were great. They were great in the whole game, but that's Jameis Winston who hasn't started since 21. Why are we giving up? I think they scored 29 points. Why are we giving up 29 points to the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston? Like that was their first time scoring over 20 all year. And we giving almost 30 points up to Cleveland? The 1-6 Cleveland Browns? Like it's so frustrating to watch. Like, and you want Lamar to score more, blah, blah, blah. Y'all can go watch all the stuff from Monday to hear them talk about why Lamar should have done this, done that. What you want Lamar to do? He scored on the drives that he needed to score on. He set the game up to where Tuck should have knocked it in. Also, I think I said this a few weeks ago, we need to talk about Justin Tucker's replacement. We got to have a real conversation about replacing Justin Tucker, because that kick, that field goal that would have put them up 3, and he missed. You're not supposed to miss that. And I think age is getting to him. So, it was rough to watch. If I'm Lamar, I'm extremely frustrated. They need to take a hard look at that defensive coordinator, because obviously he's not getting enough out them guys. And change needs to come, or we're going to lose earlier in the playoffs than we expected. That type of performance gets you beat early in the playoffs. And nobody wants to see that happen again. So the Ravens have actually done something. This is Future Keys. So as I'm editing, it came down the pipe that Deontay Johnson from the Carolina Panthers is going to Baltimore, and Baltimore gets himself a receiver. Now, he's a smaller receiver. I wish they would have got a bigger body, a 6'2", 6'3", a guy that can go up and make catches, but those guys are not on the market, and not for a franchise that's as dumb as Carolina. So EDC made some calls and got a good receiver. Now, he did have a dropping issue early in his career. So I'm a little scared for that. It's like when guys can play with LeBron and all of a sudden they can't shoot. So hopefully we don't have some of that going on. But Deontay Johnson is a major addition, or a major upgrade to a receiver room that's, let's be honest, is not as good as it should be. So that's all the Ravens breaking news. So, I don't even know what to say with Baltimore. 4 or 5 drops. Bateman drops one that could have been a touchdown. It's so much BS, so much more BS that you could blame on this Baltimore team instead of Lamar. As I said, Lamar, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 for 38. He could have been 29 or 30 for 38 if players would actually caught the ball. So, as far as the Browns, it's a nice win. Not too concerned about the Browns. Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. He's always been a good player. He just caught up in bad situations. And I put his name up here. The guy in Tennessee, not Tennessee, the guy in Tampa Bay who let him throw 30 interceptions really set his career up for failure. Jameis Winston's always been a good quarterback. He just has the interception problem. I remember early in my quarterback series, I was saying, if Jameis Winston could cut those interceptions down from 30 to maybe 17 to 20, he'd be so much of a better player. And they probably still would have won the Super Bowl even without Brady. So, but I'm off my soapbox about that. All in all, it was a good game, but that was Baltimore games to lose. Real briefly, we're going to go over the Eagles game. Hurts 16 for 20, 236 yards, a touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns. Barkley, 22 carries, 108 yards. Philadelphia has found their identity, and they're using it. It was close up there, but Philadelphia took the game over and said, we win in this. I think final score was 37-17. They're turning into that Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts of the NFC And that's what I always wanted to see from them. Now, was this a relatively easy game? Yes, but you still want to see the Eagles go out and win those games. Dallas lost. The Eagles won 2-3 straight. Starting to look like the Eagles are getting ready, or in not playoff form. We're way too far away to playoffs. But it looks like the Eagles are finally getting it together and figuring out who they are. So, shout out to them. And luckily, we'll get to see more of them the deeper we get into. So we're gonna move on to the Chiefs. So Mahomes was 27 for 38, 268 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Kelsey finally had a game, 10 receptions, 90 yards, a touchdown. Mahomes finally had a Mahomes game, and that defense came along with him. Now you might be like, Keith, it was 20-27. This is a divisional game. I mean, look what happened in Cleveland. Baltimore had no reason losing that game, but because it was divisional, they see each other all the time. So we all know, not Oakland. I keep saying Oakland. They haven't been in Oakland in almost 10 years. So Vegas and the Chiefs are division rivals. So just like in Baltimore, where you can have a 1-16 beat the division leader at the time, this is the type of thing that you get in every division because they see each other 2 times. So I'm not surprised that they only won by 7 points, but Mahomes got his get back today. He performed well. Typical Mahomes game finally. Kelsey finally. And it's a scary thing. If they can get their offense going the way they top 10 defense is going, it's going to be really, really scary. Really, really scary going forward because they're already undefeated. They're undefeated with Mahomes not even playing well. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm excited to see it because I want Baltimore to win, but you know they're going to be there. You know the Chiefs are going to be there. It's just the Chiefs are going to be there, you know. So let's get Anthony Richardson out the way first, then we'll talk about CJ. So Anthony Richardson, 10 for 32, 175 yards, a touchdown and interception. The offense was really carried by Jonathan Taylor with 20 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown. I wrote down on this paper some really good and some very ugly, and then an awful 2-minute drill. The 2-minute drill AR ran was one of the worst 2-minute drills I've seen. Like, you don't run on those. You don't run for 10 yards. They lost 20 yards just off AR running, trying to get the first down, and then you throw the ball in the middle of the field with 10 seconds to go, and then luckily you get 1 second and can't even really get the ball off. So it was some terrible passes in this game, and I think I talked about this with AR. He is so raw as a talent. He needed years. He needed the Jordan Love package where he sit for 3-4 years and figure everything out. But they threw him in there because they drafted him top 10, and you get some oh my gods, and then you get some oh my gods. So it's like, Joe Flacco looks better as a starter, but he's already been starting, so you don't want to pull him because if you pull him, you got to pull him. I don't know what to make of AR. It's just he was a boomer bust prospect at the time when they drafted him, and if AR plays better, they win this game. If they play better, they win this game. With the whole him tapping out and going to sit on third down, that's inexcusable. That is a benchable offense. You tired? I almost said some stuff. You tired? What you mean you tired? I can't remember what's his name on ESPN. He said this. Offensive linemen don't get to be tired.
To catch your breath. Bro, I'm a former offensive lineman. We don't get plays off. We're literally out there to protect you. And for you to tap out in that situation is the most ridiculous thing that I have ever heard.
We just got to toughen it up and keep it moving. But you want to tap your head on third down and go sit? When y'all had a chance to possibly either take the lead or tie it up, and you going out the game, that shows me a lack of football character. I don't like to even question people's character, but that shows me a lack of football character because no all-time great comes out the game at that time. Lamar don't do that. Pat don't do that. Hell, Josh don't do that. Russ would never do that. We can go further. Jaden and Caleb probably would never do that. Hell, Matt Stafford won a game with like a broken rib like 10 years ago. Came in the game limping, threw a touchdown. Like, this is a man's sport. And if you're not willing to go the extra mile, then you shouldn't be in there. That's how I would feel if I was his offensive lineman. Because if I tap my head and say I can't play, I might not see the field the rest of the season. But since he's the top pick, he can do that. But he's not playing like a top pick. As we go into the other side with CJ, who's 25 for 37, 285 yards, a touchdown. Another mostly run-based offense. The offensive line is great at run blocking, kinda, and they're awful at pass blocking. Now, I know they're awful at that. But Mixon was out there making moves. But I want to say it's all Mixon, but then you got to get past the line of scrimmage to be able to run well. So I would go 70% Mixon, 30% offensive line. Mixon was 26 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. O-line almost cost this team the game because the fumble would have happened either way. But the speed in which them guys got back there to recover the fumble on one of the final drives, that shouldn't happen with a good offensive line. Mixon should have been able to just fall on that and live to fight another day. But because the offensive line was so terrible, they had no chance. Now, luckily, they're in the AFC South, which is a bad division, and they're the best team in that division. But, this offensive line is going to get you beat unless you play Baltimore, who can't guard anybody. So, I'm very concerned with that. CJ is living his life in reverse, where this was supposed to be his rookie year, and last year was supposed to be his sophomore year. You're supposed to have the sophomore jump at this point. But there is a precedent for this also with the sophomore slump and everything. But I think CJ will get it together. CJ is by far not the problem in Houston. With all the receivers hurt now, Nico Collins is the only one that's not hurt. Tank Dell got to take up all the carries now. So you go from an elite offense to a decent offense without two of your biggest targets there. So I still think they'll be fine. They're leading their division. I think they might be second in the AFC next to the Chiefs now, but everybody is losing. So they'll be fine. But in order to win the playoffs, they're going to have to get their offensive line together. And so the Cardinals. The Cardinals are, I want to say an enigma. The Cardinals remind me of that Case Keenum and I think Case Keenum and last year's Minnesota Vikings, where they was winning almost every game by 2 points. They was winning almost every game by a field goal or less. They could have lost 15 games. They also could have been undefeated because of how small the disparity is. That's what this Cardinals team reminds me of. If they would just play better in the first half, they would possibly be 6-1. But they just don't play well in the second half. They don't play well in the first half, and then look like world beaters in the second half. That's just some good. Their wide receivers had a day. Kyler Murray had a day. 26 for 36, 2 touchdowns, 307 yards. I'm gonna put the screenshot up of all the receivers' numbers. Towards the end of that game, it was the Marvin Harrison show. Marvin Harrison showed why he was the top 10 pick. Excellent. Marvin Harrison is one of them ones as well. But they ended up winning. Tua also returned in this game, and you could tell their offense looks worlds of difference. Tua is worth all the money that they're paying him in Miami because that offense looked awful. All they did was take Tua out, and they looked awful. So shout out to Miami, even though they didn't get the win. But we all know what's going on in Miami. Tua was hurt and blah blah blah. So I'm not too much mad at Miami for what they're doing or what they did. So last team, Seattle Seahawks. They're falling apart. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about Seattle. I didn't watch the game. I watched a piece of it, but they just don't look connected. They look very disjointed. Like McDonald don't know what he's doing. I'm not understanding what's going on over there. Seattle fans, y'all can help me. Let me know what's going on up there because I really have no idea. What y'all looked good the first month, or not the first month, the first 3 weeks, and the bottom just fell out. I'm not understanding what's going on. Has the league figured you guys out? I don't get a chance to watch you guys. So let me know in the comments what is the deal with Seattle. So I think that's all I got for you guys. If you're looking for the Pittsburgh breakdown, it'd be at the end of the card. I did a separate review for that, and so I'll talk to you guys later. No, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the Houston game. Peace.